the finals just had its busiest weekend yet, where they were headlining in the TwitchCon events. We'll go over all the details there, what happened, and the recap. Additionally, we'll cover things within the community and what's happening overall, as well as a whole bunch more. What's up, well, this should be back in the video. Today we're checking out all things the finals. Okay, so jumping right into it, we'll cover everything that happened at TwitchCon, what happened with the Season 4 reveal, as well as some of the preview stuff, what was happening from my end. So going off the schedule stuff, we did have a few things, or either discrepancies and things that happened and changed, or there was supposed to be an opening ceremony for Season 4 that started at 1 p.m. CST. However, it does look like they just jumped into the interview with Gustav and Oscar. That was at 1:30 p.m. CST. Looks like that interview actually only lasted around 10 to 15 minutes. Or then we jumped into the first look with Oscar and Thixie. However, I don't know if this was originally planned, but it doesn't look like Oscar and Thixie were in the same vicinity at the time, or Thixie was actually playing the game and Oscar was actually casting. I think, at least for myself, I thought Oscar and Thixie were either going to be casting or playing together. However, it does look like they kind of switched and swapped there, where Oscar was actually casting and then Thixie was playing. Now, they had a bunch of different casters throughout this time. I really thought they were going to just have Oscar and Thixie doing it for the most part, other than when they switched out for some of the other interviews, where they did eventually have Joachim come up on stage. Again, another developer. That was at 3:30 p.m. CST. Not sure how well that aligned with the timing, as it's really hard to tell because I was actually playing the preview at the same time. Also, next up for the schedule for the Movement and Mayhem with Mikkel, we did have that interview as well. It does seem like those interviews either got pushed back or pushed together, because Joaquin was right next to that other interview, or Mikkel was right after that one after a quick break. So seemingly some of the times might have been adjusted there, but that's what ended up happening with that. Quickly going back through the interviews, we had Gustav, but this was mostly just to hype up Season 4 and what is coming to Season 4. And I have a video on my channel if you want to check that out. I'll put it in the link in the description. Jumping to the next interview, we had Joachim, who is actually the map's design lead. Now, one of the first things they talked about was design and map choice, or in this case, location, or if they make their own arena. So they try to determine if they're going to use a real location or try to mirror a real location. Or in the case of Fortune Stadium, they just do their own design with that and make it into the game show aspect or the arena. So just like Kyoto and a few others, we probably will get maps that do mirror real life locations. He does mention there was a design philosophy change from the other maps, or in this case with Fortune Stadium, they actually used to use something called 360 combat, but now with the Fortune Stadium, it's going to be more about directionality. So looking at fights being taken place with certain angles and not exactly all the way around or 360. However, of course, he does mention with destruction, you're able to make it 360, but that was kind of the design choice for the layout of the map. They also talked about some future map ideas and what we might see on the horizon. Well, they did say they barely have been scratching the surface of that, and they have a lot of cool new ideas and new tech it seems like they're going to be bringing in with future maps. Now, Oscar did make a new horizon pun, but we're not sure if that's going to be actually showcased as another map or if that's actually going to be the other map. However, it does seem like they might not be as grounded next time and change it up a bit there. He also does last up mention here that he is going with the NGMO sponsor, so if you want to mirror him or rival him, you could as well. Right after this interview, they actually did have some trailers play, and you've probably seen this one already for Holto. However, they had one for NGMO as well. I'll play both of those for you now.
Always on. The source of everything that is good. But can it be trusted? Holtau's Sun Insurance will have you covered if the unimaginable happens and the light goes out. Holto, brighter than ever.
We know you feel alone, but trust us, you're really not alone. Let NGMO bring the world a little closer, one element at a time. Breeze through and sign our completely straightforward user agreement about data sharing and join our global community of friends. NGMO, beyond boundaries, within reach.
Jumping back, we have that next interview with Mikkel Hagström. Now, as he first up mentions here that destruction is the center of the finals, and because there is so much destruction, the destruction is actually server-sided. Well, with server-sided destruction, they also needed server-sided movement. They said that was the hardest thing for them to pin it down, as that could cause, or did cause, a lot of input lag. It took the team nearly a year and a half, but they finally got it down. Based around some of the exploits or unintended movement, They did mention there's a very gray area, but a very fine line with some of those. So they've tried to be lenient on most of the stuff and let a lot of the stuff or movement tech kind of go. But other things they've kind of had to nerf or take away as they just thought it was entirely unintended. So their philosophy there is to let most things go, but some of the things that they find very unintended, they just kind of have to get rid of. For his last major question, he talked about was there anything that he dreamed big about the finals. Again, he just emphasized they have a ton of stuff planned and up and coming. Nothing too concrete there, but they still have a ton to showcase and they have a lot of ideas. For my ending thoughts and takeaway there with just the whole TwitchCon itself, now I'm not sure if it affected anything, but the servers for the new season preview actually went live before the interviews and all that showcase stuff. So people were able to play season 4 and go through all the gameplay a lot before this showcase even started. Not sure if that was intended there or if they had to start things early in order for it to be set up with TwitchCon. And again, I'm not sure if that took away from the interviewing stuff or if that kind of took away from the whole ceremony. But of course, a lot of people were going to watch the game over maybe the interviews and all that stuff there. Again, not sure if it affected anything, but at one point I had almost 1,000 viewers just on YouTube, which is insanely significant for my channel since I don't really live stream like that, all because realistically we saw the servers went live early and we hopped into the game. Also, I was kind of surprised at the beginning because I really thought that they were going to have Thixie and Oscar as the headliners there, or at least the showcase of that, and they kind of did, but they separated them, but I really thought that they were going to be the casters of at least the beginning portion. And maybe I have some bias there, but I really do think that Thixie and Oscar riffed really well with each other in the community live stream, and I thought that was their whole preparation for that with TwitchCon. Again, not sure what happened there, but neither Oscar or Thixie were casting at the exact same time. Maybe a bit of bias there, but I was just hoping to see that. Now, at one point, Oscar and Thixie were actually playing in the same game, but I honestly thought where they were going to shine was casting together. Really hope we see some more collaboration in the future there, maybe a TwitchCon or a VidCon, or even more community live streams with some of the content creators, whether it's Thixie or whoever. That does cover it for TwitchCon, other than some gameplay segments and just being casted overall. Now, there is actually one major update from Oscar about TwitchCon and the preview event and the whole showcase. So this was over on the Discord where Oscar talked about readying up for day 2 of TwitchCon, and of course they were just at the booth this time around. However, they also wanted to touch on something that happened during the preview event as well as TwitchCon. So the mode that we played was actually 3v3v3 cash out, which was actually not intended to be played. It was supposed to be quick cash and not quick cash out. They're not actually adding a 3v3v3 cash out mode. Instead, it was actually supposed to be 4 teams of 3 and not 3 teams of 3. Now, my experience with the preview event, I had a blast with it, although I do really wish they had 4-team cash out, or quick cash essentially, as it did feel a tiny bit lackluster at times with just 3 teams. Although of course, experimenting with the new weapons and the new maps felt incredible. Literally just a mode that's not even gonna be in Season 4 was probably its only downfall there, if at all. Now, I did get in 1 game of World Tour. There was no queues the entire day, or at least it didn't say there was any queues the entire day except one time. And I did queue it and we actually won the tournament. I was kind of sad about that. I wish we could have got at least maybe 1 more of that World Tour mode. They did say we could have queued it, but it seems like because everybody at TwitchCon wasn't queuing it and everybody in the preview wasn't really queuing it as well, there wasn't many going into World Tour, and so people kind of shied away from it. But of course, I did thoroughly enjoy the preview and had a blast with it. As well as my teammates, you can even look at the stream, they had a ton of fun. Moving on to that and jumping over to some of the community stuff. First up, if you haven't claimed already, there is a QR code that got showcased. Now, Rob, of course, did quote-unquote leak this to Thixie's stream. However, you can use the QR code, or you can actually head to Embark's website and redeem the code or the string values itself. That will get you an in-game t-shirt. So some pretty cool free in-game cosmetic there. Also, one of our last-minute mentionables here, one of my moderators, as well as my teammates during the preview event, has been working on some new banners. If you didn't know, I originally featured Linksy way back in the day on one of my videos, and they made banners for people and were practicing with a lot of graphical stuff there. Really worth the check out here. They do have all the sponsors on these banners, and these are really accurate colors to the actual sponsors. Reason being is we actually showcased our menu screens to them. They were able to take those colors and put them into banners. So really cool here. Shout out to Linksy for making these. Obviously some placeholder text here, and they might be working on future banners for people. I'm sure they'll eventually work out the details there, and when they do, I will let you guys know. And last up here, as always, I'm going to feature some of the finals runway outfits posted on my Discord. This first one here posted by Pistanio. He's calling this one Golden Dragon. Kind of just looks like a nice, neat, classic outfit here. This next one here by Legend, where he is showcasing the use of the lava mask and some really nice color matching with it. And then third, one of my personal favorites as well, by Atomic. He's saying this one is from Worlds Unknown. Really think this one matches very well, and I like the shimmer to the silver. Overall though, that's about covered for today's video. If you like and subscribe, and until the next one, deuces.